Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Masterminds with Dr. Tosin. And before I go on, I'd like to apologize for the break in transmission or break in communication, break in posting. I know it's been a while. Has actually been due to circumstances that are largely beyond my control. Just been having to do busy with a lot of things essentially. But I'm quite hopeful that now I am back. Now I'm a bit more organized, I believe. Now I'm getting things together. So kindly accept my apologies. But we're back basically with the content that you love, with what you've been looking forward to, Masterminds with Dr. Tosin. And there's so many things got lined up for us this year, so many discussions. Some have already been recorded. We're in the process of recording some other ones, but we'll get to it and we'll just hopefully be able to give you the very best. So today I'm going to be talking about something very important, the role of a man. Basically, say the man as a leader, the man as a leader. Now, in discussing this, while you listen to it, while I talk about it, I want you to picture leadership in terms of leadership in your personal life. I want you to think about leadership in terms of in your relationships, because some of us believe that men, hold that leadership position even in the home. So think of leadership in your life. Think of leadership in your relationship, and obviously organizational leadership. So you find yourself in a group of people where you are the leader, where you have been designated the leader position. What are those things that can help you be a good leader? Now, it's important for us to understand that as men, we have natural instincts to lead. We are called to leadership, essentially. We are called to leadership roles. And I'm not saying women are not called to leadership roles, don't get me wrong. But of course, I'm, talking a lot more about men these days. We are called, we know that we have that, sort of responsibility to take on leadership, to be leaders. But if we're going to lead, there are certain things we need to do. We must first be leaders in our personal life, in our personal space. We must master ourselves first before obviously we start talking about leading other people. I know many people struggle sort of with this concept of leadership, and that's primarily because the concept as a whole has been bastardized, has been abused by a lot of people. People who are supposed to be leaders in many instances have turned themselves into dictators, or have turned themselves essentially into rulers, if I may use that word, subduing people rather than actually providing good and quality leadership. But the fact that it has been bastardized does not mean that the value of what it represents changes. What we just need to do is to be able to do it right. And trust me, if we are able to do leadership right, I think our community, I think our society, our world is on a good and great path. And that's why on Masterminds with Dr. Tosin, I am particular about talking about this subject, men or man, the man as a leader. And it's like I said, it's important that we find our way, even though this has been, bastardized. Like I said, it remains paramount important that we find our way or find our path to real leadership. Because the truth is, in every setting, when there is good leadership, there is orderliness, there is progress, there is success. Everybody is happy. And I'll give an example of the home front, which is where people sort of struggle with the concept of leadership. I believe that if leadership is pursued in the home, if you as a man pursue your role as a leader the way it should be, trust me, it is for the benefit of the home. It is for the benefit of your spouse, of your kids, and even for yourself. Everybody is able to live at peace. The truth is that when the leaders are mature, when the leaders know what to do, when the leaders have understanding of what leadership entails, everything sort of goes smoothly. Many things come down. The nations of the world that are struggling today, some of their biggest problems have to do with leadership. You would think about, availability of resources in certain nations, but those nations can still struggle if there is no leadership. And that's why you think about other communities or countries where they have very little, resources, but they have leaders that know what to do. They tend to thrive. And the same applies in your personal life. If you are able to lead, if you are able to live in your home, you can expect that even with little resources, you get the best out of life. So quickly, I'm just going to run through some of the qualities. And of course, this list is by no means exhaustive. There are so many other things, but some ones that sort of stand out to me that I'd just like to quickly run through because of time. The first one is that a leader must be visionary. As a leader, as a man, you must have a vision. Just like I was saying the other time, there are nations in this world today that have very little resources, but because the leaders have a vision, they have a way of thinking, thinking about the future. They've essentially been able to maximize the little that they have, and they've essentially brought their vision to reality. So as a leader, you must have a vision for your life. As a man, you should ask yourself, what is your life's vision? What do you want to achieve? Where do you see yourself? Now, and that is really starting with you, like as a single person. And even if you're married yet, it's not too late to find a vision. It's interesting where as men, we want to say, okay, we want to lead. We are the leaders in our home, but we have no idea where we are going to. And, it's always said that when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. If the purpose of a life is not known, imagine a marriage, a home, where the vision is not known, such a person will end up abusing their own lives, but not just theirs alone. They will end up abusing the lives of their spouse and the lives of their kids. And that's not the kind of leaders that we are raising. That's not the kind of men that we want to raise. So essentially, it's important that as men, we are visionary. We are visionaries. We know exactly where we are going. We know exactly the things that you want to achieve. And the second thing is, as a leader, you are expected to be an example. You should understand that you should, as a leader, whether in your personal life or more so in your relationships on your organization. So I'm talking, don't forget, if you have the opportunity of leading a group of people in an official capacity, you have the responsibility to be an example to them, whether you like it or not. People often say, I don't want to be anybody's role model. But at the end of the day, you will be somebody's role model. At the end of the day, if you will lead, you will be somebody's role model. At the end of the day, if you're going to start up a home, you will be a role model to the kids, to your wife, and to so many people looking up to you, whether you like it or not. The question is, what example are you setting? One of my lovely mothers always say about kids that they often do not listen up to you, that they look up to you. Essentially, they see the things that you're doing and they follow suit. So the question you should ask yourself is this: the current lifestyle that I am living, I think everybody should answer this question. The current lifestyle that you're living right now, is it worth emulating? Is it worth a good example for anybody at all to follow? The other thing, because of time, is going to be the issues around service and humility. Many times when we think about leadership, we think about it in context of being a boss. And this is often where many people have a lot of problems with leaders. Many people have a lot of problems. Many women, I would say, have a lot of problems with the concept of leadership in the home. But the truth is this: for those of us that are Christian, obviously our perfect example is always our Lord Jesus Christ. And when he was going to demonstrate his leadership, he did it by service. He did it by washing the feet of his apostle, of his disciples, essentially. He did it by humility. He did it by service. As a leader in the home, as a leader in your organization, how ready are you to serve? Or are you just all about, and just have a look around you at those countries that are struggling today? Yeah, I was reading through, a thread on Twitter yesterday, or on X yesterday, and then, somebody was saying about how listing some leaders of certain countries and how the countries have, struggled. But all of these leaders, one thing about them was they were always amassing wealth for themselves. All of them from multiple countries. But one thing in common, or two things in common: there are people who were suffering. They were always amassing wealth for themselves. Everything is about them. There is nothing about service. And you can see how those countries are doing today. Imagine you replicating those kind of things in your own personal space. What do you think would happen? What is happening in the country setting is probably what will happen in your life if you're not humble and ready to serve. The other part of that is closely related to that is integrity. And this is essentially about you setting your standards, knowing that this is right. They should be able to say, the people following you should be able to say, no, the boss will not do that. No, this is who the boss is. He always stands for integrity. And I should also say, the other point I want to say is, as a leader, this is the other place where people sort of struggle in the home. Your ability to lead is more obvious when you are able to leverage on the strength of other people to make decisions, productive decisions. You must understand that the fact that you are a leader does not mean you are the smartest in the room. I'll take that again. The fact that you are a leader does not mean that you are the smartest in every single field in the room. For instance, the fact that you are the leader in the home does not mean you are the best manager of money. It just means you are the leader. And the fact that you are the leader in the home does not mean you take the best decisions on where to go on holidays. What does this mean? It means that as the leader in the home, or as the leader in any space whatsoever, you should be able to leverage on the strength of other people and be able to say, okay, my first son knows a lot about, taking decisions about how we can have a good holiday. Designate that and let that person take the decisions. Oh, my wife knows a lot about money management. She should be actively involved in managing the money in the home. Your ability to look at everybody in the home or everybody in your organization and say, this is this person's strength, this is that person's strength. Let me use the person's strength to my advantage. That's what countries do when they have ministers for this, ministers for that, or secretary for this and that. Essentially, they are trying to leverage the strength, the intelligence of other people to build at the end of the day, they will usually say, under the administration of this particular leader, this is happening in education, even though the guy knows nothing about education. Do you understand what I'm saying? So your ability to leverage on other people's strength is very important as a leader. And then as a leader, you must be able to inspire others rather than hurt them. One of the things that people sort of complain a lot about men, when leading, is that possibility of hurting people. And I'm not saying all men hurt people. I definitely would never agree to that. But, this is one of the things that people say, they're not allowing their spouse to do that. They're not allowing this person to do that. They're not allowing their kids. I was reading a story on X too. I spent some time on X actually. I was reading a story about somebody that was saying they did not allow their wife to do a particular thing, and they said they had to do something else. As a leader, your job is to be able to inspire them, is to be able to push them to achieve the best that they should achieve, not to hurt them, not to make them become less of themselves. If the people under you become worse than when they came under you, you have not done well as a leader. And finally, I would say, and there's a lot to speak about this, a leader must develop, certain soft skills, like communication skills, like emotional intelligence, knowing what to say, when to say it, being able to read the room, like patience, like diplomacy, so many of these soft skills. And we'll be talking about a lot of these soft skills. I'm going to be getting people to talk to us about it on this space. But as a leader, these are things you must learn. Knowing what to say. There are things that will happen in your home, and everybody is essentially waiting for, They may not necessarily say, Daddy, we are waiting for you, but by the time you say it, they know that, somebody with wisdom has said something. Now, the question to you is, who do you want to be? What kind of leader do you want to be? The one that helps people around them to achieve success, or the one that destroys other people? I would advise that you choose the former, the one that helps everyone around them to achieve. And because the sort of benefit of that is that at the end of the day, everybody is happy. The man is happy, the woman is happy, the people under them, the kids, even the man himself, I must say, is happy. So like I said, we must go back to this concept of leadership. We must go back to this path of leadership, and we must do it right. Like I said, there are so many other qualities, but because of time, I'm just going to stop at this. I want to thank you so very much for listening, and I really hope that you've learned something about leadership. I'll be looking forward to reading your comments, reading your thoughts, maybe also adding some new concepts and new ideas to what we have said essentially so far. Thank you once again for listening. Please don't forget to subscribe to this video, and don't forget to like, and don't forget to share with your friends. Till I see you next time, next week on Masterminds with Dr. Tosin. Have a very wonderful day.